I think technology is at a point where it's rocketing ahead so fast that artificial intelligence is just going to be a thing, like a normal thing, like everybody has a George Jetson robot butler. For right now, it's mostly powering our tractors, makes deep fakes and thumbnails. On my wrist is an Apple Watch with a picture created by AI of a dude with an Apple Watch and runs some wacky Japanese hotels. Now, I don't know how you feel about this. Maybe
The danger of AI is much greater than the danger of nuclear warheads by a lot.
you feel like it's all going to lead to one big Skynet and the eventual downfall of mankind. However, I do think there's one aspect of your life that you would be fine with the AI overlords taking over, and that's your sleep. This is the Pod 3, and it's made by a company called 8 Sleep. The biggest names in entertainment, sports, and most importantly, science are using the Pod 3 to get the most out of their sleep. The Pod 3 is the latest and greatest in thermal regulation. What is thermal regulation? Pretty simply put, it's the regulation or maintenance of your temperature. Now, if you're anything like me, you have woken up in the middle of the night a hot, sweaty, uncomfortable mess. As you sleep, you give off heat. That heat is transferred from you to your bed, your sheets, your pillow, but there's nothing really to dissipate that heat. Now, there are cooling sheets, which are usually made of bamboo, something like that, something that's better at dissipating heat. But for some of us out there, me, and probably a few of you, they don't do a good enough job and we overheat anyway. That's where the 8 Sleep comes in. This is how it works. This is the Pod 3. I brought it out. I usually keep it tucked in between this nightstand. I love that it's vertical. It kind of slots in there. This is the thing that holds the water and has all the technology. It's got the processor. It's basically like a computer that also houses cooling units. And essentially, you fill up this reservoir with water. That goes in there like that. The water comes out and goes through this tube and then comes into this cover that I'm sitting on, all right? Now, I'll show a close-up here, but this cover from here to here is covered in these like little 1-inch by 1-inch square grids. And that is what the water runs through. And what's super cool about it is that it's kind of sectioned off. Right here is like a channel. And so each side of the bed you can control independently. So I can have this side really cold and this side much warmer if I want. And for a super mega hot sleeper like me, it's actually kind of life-changing. But that's not what makes 8 Sleep's Pod 3 so incredible. You guessed it, it's the AI and how they use it. This is the active grid. This is what the water runs through at night. But what you can't see, and more importantly, what you can't feel, are hundreds of microscopic sensors. One of the coolest features of the 8 Sleep Pod 3 is that you can set a sleep schedule that changes the temperature based on what sleep phase you're in. For example, tests have shown that a decrease in your temperature from anywhere between 3 and 8 degrees is optimal for falling asleep faster. And as you're about to enter deep sleep, which is typically the next phase, you want to get even cooler still. However, REM sleep, which is a sleep phase before you wake up, you want to warm up into that phase. And that's all well and good, but how am I supposed to know how to do that or when to do that? Do you? Because these sleep stages don't operate like clockwork. Remember those teeny tiny sensors I was talking about? Well, they can actually detect when you fall asleep and what sleep phase you're in. It is pretty nuts. Check this out. This is how mine is set up. You're gonna see each phase, bedtime, deep, REM, and wake up, have different numbers because as you go through each of those phases, your temperature should change. Now, down here it says next bedtime schedule. So let's set one up. I just hit the plus button and I'm gonna leave my bedtime at 10 p.m. And now
One thing I'm going to do is change my wake up. And I can select the days here, and I'm going to go Monday through Friday. I've turned my thermal wake up on, but I'm going to raise that up to a 7 for very hot. And you'll notice there's a vibration that you can toggle on and off. And this actually has a chest level vibration alarm in the cover. At 3, it's very subtle, it's not jarring at all, and I really like it. What I love about the sleep schedule on the Pod 3 is that when you set a bedtime, like mine is set to 10 p.m., it's gonna automatically start adjusting the temperature before that time so that when you hop into bed, you're ready to go. Like, it's gonna help you fall asleep as fast as possible. Then, once it detects that you're asleep, it's gonna start doing all of the micro adjustment of the temperature all on its own in the background. And as hard as this may be to believe, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Maybe you were thinking like, how the deuce does this bed know what sleep phase I'm in? I was thinking that. But remember those teeny tiny sensors I just mentioned? Well, they are constantly monitoring your heart rate variability, resting heart rate, respiratory rate. That's right. Maybe you've wanted to track your sleep and what happens during your sleep so that you can improve it, but maybe the idea of wearing like an Apple Watch or a Whoop, just you don't like the idea of putting something on your wrist all night at sleep. Well, now you can track all of that through the bed. You don't have to wear anything. Finally, this is where the Pod 3 really separates itself from any other sleep system, and that's its autopilot. I mentioned earlier that you can set a sleep schedule, temperatures that change based on what sleep phase you're in. Well, autopilot is like this, but with the power of AI. Instead of you setting the sleep stages, autopilot does everything for you. It takes into account your entire sleep history. It's going to look at your preferences of when you change temperature and to what temperature. Plus, it actually tracks the temperature of your room and weather patterns so that it can make all of these micro adjustments on its own in the background to give you the best night's sleep of your life. Obviously, the heart of Pod 3 is what it will do for your sleep, and because of that, what it'll do for your health, both mentally and physically. But there are a lot of things to like about the Pod 3. This might seem like a super trivial thing to you, maybe it doesn't matter, but to me, it definitely does. That's the unboxing and the setup process. The level of care that they put into the packaging was awesome. It really felt like, hey, we want you to have a good experience, and we care a lot about this product, and we're gonna show that to you by how we package it. Now, when products are very techy, they can be very overwhelming, especially during the setup process. I don't know if there's a worse feeling than buying something that is expensive, super cool technology, and as you're trying to set up, feeling like you're gonna do something wrong and potentially ruin the thing before you ever get to use it. That was not the case with the Pod 3. The setup process was painless. It walks you through every step by step with pictures and instructions. Everything was so effortless, and unlike the Pod 2, try moving your router closer to your hub. I can't. I think because the Pod 3 now offers 2.4 and 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, connecting to Wi-Fi was infinitely easier and faster. The app is super easy to use. You'll find navigation to all of the most important stuff right here at the bottom. A slight con for me, when it comes to the app, I would love to see those sleep tools, like the songs and the meditations, just move those to the sleep tools section, because the home page, where all the important stuff is, feels a little cluttered. It's got a sensor in the reservoir, and when it runs low, it'll actually send you a notification to your phone and be like, hey, it's time to fill it up. And compared to the Pod 2, it is so much quicker at delivering your sleep information and your sleep performance report. Again, probably because of that much beefier processor. My one major con with the Pod 3 is the cost. It's expensive. For the setup I have, which is the Pod 3 with autopilot, For a queen size bed, you're looking at $2,245 plus $15 a month for autopilot and a few other features. It is expensive, but it's worth it. Andrew Huberman posted this. If one of the smartest people on the planet is telling you how important sleep is and that you can instantly improve your sleep by getting a Pod 3, well, yes, it's expensive, but it's an expense you'll never regret. I guess there is a silver lining about the cost though, and that's because right now, the date of this release, which is November 11th to the 18th, 8 Sleep is having a huge discount. And you can find all of the details to that discount down below. 8 Sleep, thank you for the discount, but also thank you so much for sponsoring this video. And obviously, thank you for sending me the new and improved Pod 3. It has been absolutely amazing. Okay, so what do you think of the Pod 3? Have you ever used thermoregulation before? I'm telling you, once you use it, you will never, ever, ever want to go back to regular bed sleeping again. If you liked the video, if you thought the video was entertaining or the least bit insightful, do me a huge favor. Hit the like button and subscribe. I've got some awesome videos coming out here in the future, and if you hit the alarm bell, that little notification bell, well then you'll be notified as to when those come out. Thanks again for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.